YTPC. Aristobulus here. With my Meerschaum again. With Featherlight again. Just heard that Rosie O'Donnell said that we have 3 weeks left to stop Donald Trump. And considering the Electoral College has already confirmed him, and the only thing left to do is inaugurate him, can't for the life of me figure out what she must be talking about. I know what the hell it sounds like. I'm just so ready to go ahead and get on with it. We're stuck with the guy for 4 years, at least 4 years. Let's just get on with it. But I'm sure that we will have nothing but human chains across freeways for the next 4 years. As if that's going to do any good. Doing nothing but pissing off people who have bills to pay, who are a couple of months behind on their car payments. Saw a video the other day of a doctor who got pissed off and got tired of waiting. So he walked up, crossed over the chain, went up to a police officer and asked him, what the hell's going on? Do these people have a permit to do this? And I don't know what the cop said to him, but as he's walking back, this black guy apparently didn't like the fact that he crossed over the chain, so he's up in his face screaming whatever it was they were chanting in this guy's face as he's walking back to his car. And as he's getting in his car, some other guy, I guess the guy with the camera, is asking him, do you have an emergency that you're trying to get to, doctor? Or something like that. But anyway, that's not what I want to talk about today. But that's just it. I don't want to talk about it. But you feel like you have to talk about it because that's all that's in the friggin' news. What I want to talk about today is I remember this man from when I was in high school. He was a substitute teacher. And I only had him like maybe 6 times, 5 or 6 times the entire time I was in high school. And I think I may have had him once or twice when I was in middle school. And everybody loved this guy. He was about, I don't know how old he was. He looked like he was about in his late 60s, early 70s, somewhere around in there. And was probably just doing substitute teaching, you know, as a, give him something to do. I don't think the teachers liked him very much. And the reason why is because he was a storyteller. He'd come in, get to riffing on something, and before you knew it, the entire class was over. It was time to go on to your next class, and we hadn't done anything. Hence the reason why all the kids loved him so much. And the reason I was thinking about him was because he's probably about the most vivid memory that I have of high school. I graduated in 91. It's been a while. Been, what, 25? Yeah, 25 years. So I'm sure that guy's long since passed on. But, I mean, he was such a good storyteller, and he just loved doing it. He loved to talk. And because of that, I guess his stories that he would tell us were so vivid. And everybody knew that once you got in there, if you could get him talking about something, all you had to do was crank him up. I mean, usually he didn't need to be cranked up. I mean, he'd do it on his own. But I think that some of the teachers started to complain about him. Because the last few times I had him, he would try and steer us towards the classwork. So I'm pretty sure the teachers complained about him, and I don't know if the school board actually stepped in, but I'm sure the principal did. Something like that seems like it'd be something that would fly under the school board's radar, but who knows? Anyway, he tried to keep us on task. But the thing, I mean, he loved it so much that all you had to do was keep prying, keep nudging him, and eventually he'd get on something and half the class would go by. And the last day, I think the last day that I had him, I was trying to do that, to nudge him. And he started talking, and then he kind of stopped, and he looked at me, and he kind of chuckled, because he knew, he knew what I was trying to do. But he loved it so much that he just went ahead, launched into his whatever spiel it was he was talking about that day. And I don't know. But that guy is definitely one of my most vivid memories of high school. And I'm happy for it too. Wait for this wind to die down in a second before I can light up again. Unless, of course, I don't need to. Someone who made an impact on him probably never even knew it. And I often wondered if he ever grew to resent people working him like that, nudging him towards that. Because, I mean, he was trying to make an effort to do his job. But we just loved story time with this guy so much that we just that's all we wanted, was just to nudge him into telling us some story. I hope he didn't resent it, because I have a feeling that guy made a big difference in a lot of kids' lives. They just enjoyed, just listening to this guy just riff on what, I mean, he could do it on anything. And he was so good at it that he had everybody's full attention. I mean, he had everybody's full attention. I don't think any other teacher in that school could say that. I miss that old man. Did any of you have any experiences like that in your schooling, or any experiences? Where someone made an impact on you just by being themselves? Just by being an interesting person. And he was. I mean, to this day, he's one of the most interesting people I ever came across. Because one thing that the kids did to all the other substitutes, just about, but I don't think they ever did it to him, was make life a living hell. And a lot of kids took pride in doing that to substitute teachers back then. I guess that's something that never gets old, because you see that all the time. Only now it's gotten incredibly violent. But yeah, that old man's probably gone by now. I hope he was surrounded by loved ones. I hope his later years were filled with care and loving. Because he certainly seemed to exude that. But I don't know, maybe one of the reasons why I think so fondly about him is because I didn't really have a grandfather experience, I guess you could say. I never knew my dad's father until he was on his deathbed. And my mother's father was barely present. He, I don't know what the deal was with him. He was a very, very quiet person. Unless you did something wrong. He was very vocal, when you did something wrong. But, that man never, and Christ, I mean, I don't know how old I was when he died. I must have been 25. And I was damn near 30 years old. Probably. But I mean, that guy never sat down and told me stories about when he was a kid or anything. He liked the babies when they were young, when they were babies. he was a goofball with them. But once they got to walking and stuff, he didn't really have anything to do with them. I never understood that. But he was not a presence, you know, if you know what I mean. He was there, but he wasn't there. And my father's stepdad, he, I guess of everybody, he was the one that I probably remember the most, because he had at least he had a personality. He was around, and you could talk to him. He took an interest in you. But I never knew my dad's dad until he was on his deathbed, and my mom's dad was just a non-presence. So that might be a reason why I remember that guy so fondly, because I could imagine even then that he must be a really wonderful person to have as a grandfather. Probably very, very in his grandchildren's lives. And I hope he had some. I really do. And if he did, I'm sure they were sorry to see him go. And that to me is what life is all about. Living a life that leaves your loved ones wanting more. What about you all? Do you have grandparents that find value in making sure you're aware of the family document of where they've been and how things were, and stories of when they were kids? Did they find value in passing that on to you? Because I think stuff like that's important. And I asked my parents all the time when I was a kid, you know, what it was like when they were kids. And it would have been nice to have those conversations with my grandfather. And, you know, it's not something that I hold against him. It's just that, you know, without that, I don't know the man, you know? No interaction. And that's a shame, you know? You go around once in life. You should be a presence. In any event, just wanted to share that with you all. Yeah, I think this is the last Signs of Life. So for today, this is Aristobulus. Keep an eternal ember burning. See ya.